What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Driving in Connecticut before the upfront pricing was pretty difficult, guys. It was pretty rough. For those of you familiar with Connecticut, we're very close to New York City. We're very close to Massachusetts. Mass, I didn't mind so much because it was never really an issue, because I didn't really live up towards Mass until recently with moving up this way towards Hartford. But I'm originally from Norwalk, Connecticut, which Norwalk is like 2 towns away from Stamford, which is probably one of the most busy cities in Connecticut, with going back and forth to New York City. One of, I'm not going to say the, but because Stamford is like right there. You got what, Stamford, Greenwich, and there you're basically New York State, and then you're in New York. So there's a lot of trips. If you do not like going to New York, it's really painful. Norwalk has a lot of trips going into Stamford, which go into New York a lot. I pushed in towards upstate, in Bridgeport, Waterbury. Now I'm closer to Hartford, just to avoid getting trips to New York. My very first trip on Uber platform I ever took, guys, was to New York City. Very first trip. I was so scared and frightened because I'm learning the app and I'm trying to figure out, you know, the map. For some reason, my map had issues that day, because back then, this is like 2018. Back then, it gave you an option to put in Waze or Google, and I think the Waze didn't work unless you had like really good phone signal. Oh my God, I was like panicking trying to get the map. Finally got Google to work, got the guy there. Of course, I didn't get no tip because I barely got there safely, trying to control the road and work the app. But I would have never took that trip if we had upfront pricing and destination. I probably would have never took, even though it was $100 and I was stupid about the math. I thought $100 was $100. It's not, because it's all dead miles coming back home. I wasn't thinking like that. I was thinking, oh, I just made $100 for one trip. It was rough. Before the upfront pricing and destination, you took a lot of nasty trips. There was a lot of nasty trips that I really would have said no to. Certain towns I wouldn't have went to. I got stuck in traffic a lot in New Haven and Hartford. New Haven probably was the worst. People in New Haven, they might as well been New Yorkers. They were nasty. I remember one time I got a ping to pick somebody up. I literally was trying to put the car in gear, and they sent a nasty message: if you're not going to move, just cancel so somebody else can get it. I didn't even get the chance to get a car and park. Car and drive. And then you'll get stuck in New Haven doing this circle around the school. Because the Yale school is right out there in New Haven. And you'll end up doing this big circle around the school. They're supposed to be like 5-minute rides, but it ends up being like 15 minutes because you got to do this. There's a lot of one-ways. It was horrible. But the rideshare professor said this on one of his lives. He was talking about Show Me the Money Club, Sergio and Chris, because they were good at pointing this out, that before upfront pricing, particularly Sergio said before the upfront pricing, the pay was better. I gotta agree. I think per mile, it was more money. But I don't understand why we couldn't have our cake and eat it too. Why we couldn't see where we're going and still get paid better. Now, I think they only gave now that I look back on it, we only got upfront pricing so they could scam us out of more money. With Dara, this dude that runs Uber, it's always like, I'm going to give you guys this, but I'm going to take more of this. And because he has the bulk of the market share as far as ride share, he makes the rules. So Lyft can try some other things out and this and that, but pretty much through the years, up until this new CEO, they basically followed and copied everything Uber did. So let's see where Lyft goes now. They got the new CEO. I think this new switch feature that Lyft has is just another form of trip radar that Uber has. It's giving it to you in a different format so you don't look at it that way. But that's how I'm seeing it. It's another form of trip radar, meaning that when they switch, it's not really a better ride. Even though it's a bigger dollar amount, it's more miles. So a lot of drivers aren't like registering that. They're saying, because the app will tell you you'll make $2 or $3 more if you take this ride. But they're not doing the quick math that instead of a 15-minute ride, this is a 25-minute ride. They're only looking at the dollar amount. This is how they're tricking you to drive further, take the bigger rides. But if I was a new driver, I wouldn't have did the math neither. I was going after the dollar amount. When I started before this upfront pricing, I was going for the dollar amount. Literally, whatever I saw as a long trip, I thought was a high dollar amount. Little did I know that wasn't true, but I was always good at getting high tips because I'm friendly, despite what some of you might say in the comment section. I'm overall a friendly guy. I like to make people laugh. That's how I get a lot of these higher tips. And I'm an introvert, believe it or not, but for some odd reason, being in the car, maybe because I'm not facing the person, it's easier to talk to them. So I became more outspoken as a Uber driver, where normally I wouldn't conversate as much. I talk and let them talk. I'm a good listener. That's part of your job as an Uber driver. You got to be a good listener. I know exactly how I know exactly how somebody's hello comes out, whether they want to talk or not. If somebody gets in my car, depending on how they say hello, I can tell if they want to talk or don't want to talk. Depending on, I might throw a little comment out there that'll give me an idea that which way to go into politics without discussing politics. It could just be simply something I heard in the news. Like, oh, this whatever, call it, I could just bring up something in politics. And if they're totally against it, I know, oh, I can't talk about that person. You know? Or I know if something in the news about Biden happened, and somebody says, oh, that moron, I know obviously that I can't mention that I'm a Democrat. I got to keep quiet. You know, with a lot of my customers, I'm neutral. I'm independent, you know. But I know which way to go without saying certain things. And that just comes with experience. That just comes from being out here, driving every so often, and you just learn this stuff over the years. And somehow I worked a way to get bigger paying tips through just conversating, but really just listening. You'd be surprised how many people just really want you to just listen to their story. It's not always me talking. Being a good listener will get you higher tips. I'm telling you, just try it. Just listen more so than interjecting and talking. You know, I try to pause, and if they give a long pause, then I know, okay, I can tell them what I think. But it's really about being a good listener, because if people are allowed to vent, they're going to give you a higher tip. But this all came with time and learning. But before this upfront pricing, it was hard to decline rides from New York. I pretty much, it came out mean sometimes. I'm pretty sure you guys can relate. You're pulling up to somebody's house. I remember there was somebody on YouTube saying how before you pull up the house, you could click accept the ride and then see where they're going, and then you could take off. But Uber started getting hip to that, where they wouldn't let you until you actually got to the pickup point, almost close to the pickup point. So that was getting hard to do. So there was a time I pull up all the way into a guy's driveway. I just let people sit in the car. That was a mistake, because I know you're supposed to keep the doors locked and say, you know, ask certain information. But I let them get comfortable, sit in the car, click start the ride, and find out they're going to New York City, and tell them, I'm sorry, sir, I can't take this ride. But I would cancel. I would always cancel and suck it up, obviously, because it's my fault that I'm not taking it. But I would cancel, be like, sorry, so I'll cancel, another car will come out. But I felt bad doing that. But I'm sorry, guys. There's no way you should just take every trip, even when the money was better back then. There was a lady, 6 o'clock at night. I'll never forget this. It was one of these back road towns. It was pouring, 6 p.m. Closer to winter time, so it was dark. It was really dark, raining. And I know if I headed to New York City, that I wasn't coming back home for like 4 hours. And the lady was like, oh, sir, you have to take it. You have to take it. She didn't understand about the whole independent contractor thing. And her son was like, no, Mom, you don't have to take it. Her son was young, and he understood. And I was trying to cancel, but because I'm the only one in that town that would take that crazy ride at that time, it kept coming back to me. It barely would let me like close out the app. Back then, it was hard to close out the app because the requests kept coming in. I'll go to cancel and it'll come back in, and it's like I'm trying to close. And she was like, you have to take it, because that lady knew there was nobody else coming out there for that ride. And she was, not only was the traffic going to be bad going up, but I would never get home. Literally 4 hours is what it took me to get back. And this lady was in a rush for a flight. And if you know, like I know, it was too last minute to make that flight. It didn't even matter what time it was. That traffic was going to be horrendous. So I really felt guilty, but Uber should have gave us this ability to see where I'm going, so to save me embarrassment and to not make this lady go through that. If nobody took the ride, nobody would have took the ride. But yeah, there's a lot of things I guess I could have did different. I could have waited till I got around the corner and hit accept, see where I'm going, did all those tricks, and I just didn't feel like it, guys. I just felt like we should have this information. So I just pulled in casually, hit accept. I was thinking, this late at night, you're not going to New York City, and it's pouring, raining. I was thinking maybe New Haven. And yeah, sure enough, it was New York City. And she was like, not New York City, but one of those airports, LaGuardia. There was no way she was gonna make it. And I didn't want that kind of pressure, because it's not an issue of speeding. The traffic was moving too slow. This is the kind of stuff that Uber does. They play these games, and they'll give you a feature, but at the expense of something else. You're not going to, like, he's not going to give you something unless he's able to take more money out of you. So it's almost like every new feature they came out with is taking a few cents. And that's what I feel like they did on Lyft with this the switch. I know it's not in everybody's area, so you might not experience it, but I really just feel like that's another form of trip radar. And if you're not doing the math, you think this is a plus. It's not. Somebody in the comments, I wasn't going to mention this, but I had a subscriber had the nerve to tell me, I'm going to unsubscribe because I found out you're still driving. That sounds ridiculous. You came on a rideshare channel, you subscribed, and you're mad because I'm still an Uber and Lyft driver. He said, I I love you, buddy, but I gotta unsubscribe because I found out you're still driving. You found out because you don't watch enough of the videos. And I'm still self-employed outside of just Uber and Lyft. So I just simply said bye-bye, gave the little waving emoji, because it's one subscriber, guys. Like, I don't know why they feel like they're hurting your feelings when they gotta announce it. I'm unsubscribing. I love you, buddy. They had the nerve to say I love you, buddy, first, but I'm unsubscribing because I found out you're still a driver. I would be so proud of you if you quit. You should have never subscribed in the first place. That's my thinking. It's a rideshare channel. And yeah, I'm transitioning out of rideshare into going private, but it's a process that requires more money. And no, I never said it was easy, but I am getting private, what I call side jobs or private rides. But going 100% private, where I get like my own limousine or Uber Black car, it's going to be a process. And if someone wants to unsubscribe because I'm not moving fast enough for them, or the channel's not entertaining enough for them, oh well. I'm not going to force anybody to be here that doesn't want to be here, you know. But I do appreciate the people that do care, that do subscribe, that do want to support other drivers like myself. And I'm just going to keep giving content. As long as you guys want to listen, I'm going to keep doing it. So thanks for your time. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like, comment, click the bell icon, and I'm going to talk to you guys in the next one. Thank you.